So this has to be one of the best features coming in the next major update, that is the La Royale, and that is a nerf, quote unquote, to the Vikhr missile. But welcome back not only to the channel, but also another short talking head video, but this time talking about one of the major changes coming in the next major update, which is called Missile Duels Fair Play. At least Gaijin called it here in the dev vlog, which I'll go ahead and show you guys on screen. Now, what does this mean? Well, in short, Vikhr missiles are getting a slight nerf. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a slight nerf. I would call it a major one, seeing that this has been something that has been a long time coming. Because if you're much like myself and you play a lot of top tier, one of the biggest, most frustrating aspects of the Vikhr missile is how OP they can be against almost everything. Now, over its lifetime, they have seen some decent nerfs. They've been made a little bit worse off compared to what they used to be years ago, but now they are finally getting a rebalance. At least that's what it appears like. Now, allow me to go ahead and go through the dev blog with you guys right here. It's a little bit complicated, I will admit. Even I don't fully understand it myself, but I get the gist of it, which basically means that these missiles are going to act a lot more realistically. But before I jump right into that, I do want to let you guys know one very important thing. I'm not only a content partner, but I also have a 3% discount link. Now, if you guys want to support me as a creator and you want to give a little bit less money to Gaijin and instead give it to me, use that 3% discount link when you buy anything in the War Thunder stores, such as vehicle packs or any sorts of Golden Eagles, premium time, whatever. If you use it through my link, you get 3% off. I get that 3%. It's really cool. Not just myself, other creators too, with our own discount links. It's really awesome, and it's a great, easy way to support us as creators. Now, with that being said, let's continue. So as a start, the multi-missile beam riding. Now, of course, the Vikhr missile is a beam riding system, which means that it's just going to follow the beam more or less all the way through, as opposed to a Hellfire where it meets the beam at the end point, which in truth is very unreliable, because if there's trees or bushes or smoke in the way, the missile is going to lose tracking very quickly. And if you play with the Apaches, the Zulus, the Tiger Haps, Hads, anything with the Hellfire system, that is very much, well, annoying to play with. The only exception to that rule is hot missiles, which don't even really go that far, but we're just talking about this one as a whole. So, hi guys, today we continue to examine more details about the improvements to missiles in the game. The first, first of all, we will talk about multi-missile fire. If that basically means they're gonna talk about the chaining of missiles, where you can launch all 12 missiles and have them all go do their thing, or launch 3 or 4 at a time to counter SPAAs, but we'll get more into that in a quick second. We try to describe this technically complex topic first in simple words, followed by a more detailed description of the aspects of this improvement. Hope you like it. Yeah, I definitely do. Scrolling on just a little bit more. In simple, if that made sense. In the upcoming La Royale update, we're going to improve beam riding cyclist missiles to make multi-missiles fire more authentic, i.e. allowed in a short period of time. So what that means, basically, the missile, you can only fire so many in a short interval before you start losing track of the next ones. I'll get more into that in a quick second. Previously, aircraft and ground vehicles ignored this limitation, and missiles could be fired one after another, being all guided to the target at the same time. Helicopters and aircraft pilots exploited this gameplay simplification by overloading the protection of SPAAGs. For example, in a duel between the French Roland 1 and the Russian Ka-52, the SAM has only 2 combat-ready missiles. Yeah, that's a big freaking truth too, man. That was bad. While the helicopter could unleash all of its 12 Vikhr missiles, not taking into account the limited allowed salvo delay. I just want to point this out. This is taking them this long to realize that. Just saying. The French could shoot down the first 2 ATGMs. The third missile sent the vehicle back to the hangar. Now, the multi-missile salvo is allowed only during a short period of time. When exceeded, the initial missiles fired lose control. And Gaijin went ahead and explained this to us in pure detail, which shows right here. Unfortunately, it's still a little bit complicated. And now, as someone who enjoys top tier as much as they do, I like the simplicity of it for the most part. I like to, I'm going to say this with respect, all right? Let the super nerds do their thing and educate the rest of us in that degree. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this as best as I possibly can, but understand that even I don't fully understand it myself, as real world stuff in War Thunder. Just, I'd like to think it makes sense, but a lot of the time it doesn't. I'm looking at you, T-80s, whose ammunition I shoot at just don't blow up. Drives me nuts. So what this does is it details how the laser beam righting guidance works in War Thunder. So basically, the missile fires, the cone is wide so it can get all the data it can, and as the missile approaches the target, the cone gets very, very small at that point. But if you launch a second missile before the first one has made impact, the first missile initially is going to get a new set of data, which is only set for the previous missile. At least that's to my understanding. All right, after which the autopilot will steer the missile back to the center of the control field and thus the line of sight of the target, more or less. I guess this is what it's telling me right here. It's very complicated, right? So they even give you a very awesome diagram, which shows you how the missile performs, right? As the closer it is, the wider the field, the further away, the smaller the field, the smaller until make initial impact, until you see the second missile right here, which means that it has a new set of data, which the first one is just not really going to interpret as needed, and it causes the missile to veer off target. Basically, if you launch, how it currently stands right now, multiple, let's say, attacker missiles or any other missile where, actually, I think the attacker can guide multiple. Let's just say it can, right? You can only launch one at a time. The second one is going to track. The first one just loses track, etc., right? It's a very well-balanced feature, in my opinion. One that the Vikhr missile from the Ka-50s and Mi-28s just did not experience, unfortunately. Hellfires also have this ability, but I think this is not going to change them, at least not for the time being. I am going to read this one out for you guys really quick. Beam righting guidance mechanics in the game were also capable of multi-missile guidance, as well as jam resistance from active interference, both from aerial and ground targets. However, actual limitations of beam righting guidance was previously simplified in War Thunder, due to which such missiles have the advantages, especially in helicopters versus SAM duels. Pilots were able to fire multiple missiles, basically chaining them, when the first missiles triggered countering surface-to-air missiles of the SAM, while following missiles reached the target when the combat-ready ammunition of the SAM was depleted. That is true. Imagine firing 2 VT-1s at 4 or 5 Vikhr missiles. It was frustrating as all hell, and still is to this day. You can still kind of do it, but not to the degree that you could previously. In reality, the guidance system is capable of providing guidance, a guidance field, only for a limited number of missiles grouped on the trajectory. The furthest missile will have the laser raster too wide and a signal too low, while the just launch missiles, I think, is that a typo? I don't know, to be honest, will have too narrow raster, preventing missile from guidance by the beam. The same feature will be implemented into the game. I know these are translated from Russian, but either I'm just too tired because I just woke up, or my brain just can't work right now. So sorry if that came out a little weird. They did come out with a list of vehicles that will be affected by this. The Ka-50, 52, Mi-28M, the AH Mark I, which is interesting. I don't know if it's going to apply to the Hellfires or not. Su-25T and 39 that are coming. The Orion Strike UAV, the BMP-2M, which is interesting, actually. The ASRAD ADATS, ZT-3A2, which is a random one, I think, the Stormer, and the ADATS M113, also known as the British ADATS. Now, this next one is a big one. Distant arming of the missile proximity fuse. I'm going to read this out in detail to you guys. I understand if I'm just regurgitating right here. Again, I just want to inject my own opinion on what I think about this coming change, okay? Another improvement to the SAM missiles to avoid false arming of the fuse while cruising to target. In reality, proximity fuses of the radio-guided anti-air missiles feature an option of distant arming activated while approaching the target. This option improves the missile's jamming resistance, as well as allows it to avoid false initiation of the fuse. I think this is going to affect missiles as they come from you at distance, so you can't just launch a Vikhr missile and have it intercept unnecessarily, though that really remains to be seen. Previously, War Thunder enjoyed simplified mechanics of the non-contact sensors, due to which they remained always armed and might be initiated by close missiles fired from airplane or helicopter to the SPAG. An aircraft versus SAM duel was never fair enough. As someone who's been dealing with this for the last 3 years, yes, I can say for a fact they were never fair. I don't think they still will be, but they might be made just that much more fair, if that made sense. We decided to get rid of the simplification in the La Royale update. If a radar of the anti-aircraft vehicle locks on target, the fuse sensor is activated only by approaching the target. This will allow us to avoid false arming by close missiles or enemy aircraft. However, if a missile is fired without locking onto the target or get manual command line of sight, which is the aim close, the target sensor remains active from the launch, since the missile has no data on the distance to target, which means that you can still have the ability to, I guess, intercept the missile while also having the ability to have it not intercept that and go straight for the helicopter, which means that you're not going to have vehicles fire off a volley of missiles or rockets to intercept it, which is a very common tactic used by every single helicopter against sand-based systems. And these are the affected vehicles: the VT-1, the Roland 2, the Roland 3, the 9M331, the 311, the 311M1, which is the 2S6 missiles, and the 95YA6, which I think is the one fired from the Panzer, which is very, very interesting, and the VT-1s being the best, I would think. But yeah, this is a wonderful change, because helicopters, man, they can reign over the game without any sort of threat to their life. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not invincible, as is proved all the time. Most players who play it don't know what they are doing, but it's the smart ones. It's the very, very moderately smart ones that could ruin your experience in ground forces. In fact, the Vikhr missile and at times the UHT have ruined my top tier experience in Sim, which is why I no longer play Sim. I haven't touched Sim in months, to be honest. Maybe once a blue moon do I go out to top tier and play, simply because I fear helicopters, which is the point of them. Don't get me wrong, that's the entire point, and I respect it and understand it. But from a gameplay perspective, it is not fun to deal with these types of things. So Gaijin, you guys did really good when it comes to this major change, and I call it a major change because this is going to change up how SPAs and helicopters play in the upcoming update. And also, missile tracking and overall guidance and mobility, maneuverability of them have also been, at least from what I saw on the dev server, have been significantly nerfed, which means that the Vikhr missiles aren't going to be overly OP against fixed-wing aircraft, which is a huge thing right now, at least in my opinion. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys when it comes to today's video. I'm super excited for that change. I'm looking forward to it. Gaijin, you need to drop the update soon. All right, I get there's complications and whatnot, but this update is taking way too damn long to drop. All right, I got sponsored gigs I got to inject. I also have some streams and stuff I want to cover. So yeah, Gaijin, Monday, Tuesday at the latest, please. But guys, let me know what you think about this change. Is it going to change up the dynamic of the game itself in the next major update, or is this not going to do anything? Or perhaps I misinterpreted just a little bit, which I don't think I did. Things are pretty well cut and dry, if that makes sense, when it comes to this devlog. And Gaijin, you guys did very well explaining this to a 5th grade brain like myself. So thank you again for that. But anyways, let me know again, comment section below. And if you want to see my gameplay live, I will be live streaming for a good sort of part of this weekend. I've also been playing a little bit of Diablo. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, I think by the time you're watching this, I will be streaming Diablo over my Twitch if I still want to continue that. So we'll see more about it. Take a look at it. Link down below in the description. And again, if you want to support me as a creator, use the 30% discount link. You know the whole spiel. But again, thank you guys so much. I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but maybe even in War Thunder itself. And next time, I'll turn off my phone so it doesn't beep every single damn time. I'll see you next time.